Okay, so we have our door installed, we have our drawer installed. Now we need to add some shelving. So I've got this piece here. This is a couple 1x8s glued together, cut to size. Came out to be 13 3/4 by 12 1/2, I believe. Nope, sorry, 12 1/4. So what I'm going to do is on the bottom side, I'm going to put some pocket screw holes in here and then install that shelf into our unit. So I'm going to put my pocket holes on the side I have just a couple, but on the back side I'm going to put my pocket holes about every 6 inches. Alright, so I'm going to throw a clamp on there just to make sure that this shelf doesn't move on me. Okay, so I have 3 holes here in the back and 2 on the sides. Go ahead and put those in now. Remove all the clamps. Flip it over. And then we'll throw these 2 in here. Alright, so there's the bottom shelf. Looks good. But I'm thinking I want one more right here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So I've got my second shelf cut. It's 14 by 12 1/2. So I need to throw some pocket holes in there. I'm going to throw one here, and I'll put the 3 on the back and do the same as I did for this side, with one here and one here. Alright, so now I need to prep this shelf for installation. So now I got to get this shelf ready for installation. So I'm going to put it right about here. I'll put a clamp on that just to hold it into place. So I got to get it all squared up. Okay, so now that that is being held, I can start squaring it up. Alright, so once I got it where I want it, I'm going to use a clamp here with a piece of scrap wood. Double check my square. Needs to come up just a hair. There we go. So I've got this held in place there. Now I'm going to clamp it down there on this side too. So I've got my scrap wood here being held by the clamp, which was holding the shelf into place, and then I clamped onto that piece of scrap wood to the shelf itself. Now it's holding the shelf. So I've got these 2 in on this side. Now I can go ahead and level the shelf exactly where I want it. So I'm just using a level here. So that now it's perfectly level, I can put the other screws in. Alright, so I forgot to put the clamp on here to hold it down. So when I screwed that one in, the shelf actually went up. So I'm going to put that clamp on and then screw it down. So now that I got that in and it's really unlevel, the amazing thing about these pistol clamps is that they can also be a spreader if you just turn the piece around. Okay, cool. And there we go. So let's get some screws in there before this thing explodes. Alright, so we got the side ones in. We'll put 3 in the back and we're ready to move on. Getting close to the end here, but don't get excited because there's still a whole bunch of things that can go wrong. Okay, so now we have our shelves in. So the next thing we want to do is we want to put the paneling on the back side here, and then we can put the top on. We have to make sure we do the paneling on the back side first because we got to account for that distance, the width of that paneling. All right, now because the back side is going to be against the wall, so all you see is the sides and the front, I'm going to butt the paneling up against this side here. And so when I bring the paneling on this side, I'm going to overlap so this lap here isn't shown. Put a bead of glue on there. All right, so I got the first one down. Now I'm just going to kind of rotate designs here. Okay, so that one's got kind of a bow in it. See if I can get that bow, if I can get a little bit of it out. Alright, moving on. Now it is going to turn out that there are some pieces you're going to have to rip to make fit, and that's okay. So you notice here that this piece is missing, and that's fine. I have to rip that piece to fit. I have the one picked out that I want there. But I have enough, I went ahead and put this piece on, so I have enough to where I can go ahead and put the top on now. So on the back side of it, I want it, I'm thinking 1 inch from the back. So I'm going to use the ruler for my combination square because it is exactly 1 inch. So that gives me my 1 inch there. Now I got to figure, because I want it centered on both sides. So now I got to figure what I'm dealing with, or figure out what I'm dealing with here. So on this side I have 1.5 inches. And on this side I have 2 3/4. So now I'll break out my notepad, and I got 1.5 inches, which is 1 2/4 and 2 3/4. So that is 4 1/4, which makes it 2 1/8. So I want it 2 1/8 on both sides. I'm going to measure out 2 1/8 and make a mark. Now I'm going to do the same on this side. So I got my 2 1/8 here. Now this should be 2 1/8. All right, so I kind of slid it around. Let me double check my 1 inch gap here. So there it is. That's exactly where I want to mount the top. But before I do, I want to put a bead of glue. So I'm going to carefully pivot it and just put down a bead of glue. If it moves, that's okay. I'll just recenter it. But so far it has not. Oh, there it just did. So we're going to have to recenter. So now that I'm done triple checking my numbers, I'm going to go ahead and screw it down. And there we go. The top is on. So now I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to go ahead and put on the rest of the sides, and then I'll catch you on the way back. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is I need to install this door handle. So I think I want it right about here. Yeah, that looks good. So I'm just going to make a mark here and here. Now before I drill those, I'm going to measure just to make sure they're both in the exact same spot. And this one was a little off. So I don't want my handle to be crooked. So now that I got my 2 holes where I want to drill, I am going to scribe those. Again, I don't want the drill to trail off on me. Okay, so I'm going to go with a 3/16 inch drill bit. The other thing I want to note is that I bought some extra bolts or screws for this handle. I actually went and bought some 1.25 bolts because I don't think the 1 inch is going to work very well. So I'm going to use the 1.25 versus the inch that came with it. And I'm going to go ahead and drill these now. Just find me a piece of sacrificial and I'm going to get started. So when I'm putting these on, I'm going to hand tighten them first, and then I'm going to use a screwdriver, a hand screwdriver, to tighten them up. I don't want to use a drill to tighten these. I'm going to just go ahead and use my hand. I got a better feeling on if I'm over tightening, if I'm using just a basic screwdriver versus using a drill to tighten these up. Alright, so there we go. I got the handle on. Alright, so there we go. I got the handle on. Now I got to back it out, and then I'm going to back the handle out of the drawer here because I'm going to get started on the sanding, which is going to take quite a while for this size of a project. I'll catch you when that's done.